For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Doctor's Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. Kirk Market, experience a world of choice. JN Money, from abroad to Yad. And Cineco, keeping Cayman covered.
We ask our listeners and viewers to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Live from Radio Cayman Studio.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
With Orrett Connor.
Informative, impartial, insightful. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Friday, the 5th day of June, 2026. Right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands, we do hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on our roads, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road, because the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, or if you've celebrated one over the past few days, we want to wish you a happy birthday or a happy belated birthday, whichever is applicable. And to remind you that the For the Record birthday shout-outs are brought to you by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands. You should accept no substitutes. From generation to generation, Coca-Cola still a Cayman classic. And the credit, nope. Yes, we're going to give them one more shout out, before we will just be having the birthday shout out sponsored by Coca-Cola until the credit union comes back on board. But a credit union, they look forward to serving the people of the Cayman Islands for the next 50 years and beyond. Those of you who have lost loved ones, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery as well. So before I introduce my guests this morning, we want to look at the birthday shout-outs for today. What do we have? We have tomorrow. Miss Anna Rose Scott celebrates her birthday tomorrow. Rebecca Fuentes also celebrates her birthday tomorrow, as well as Royanne Roots. I don't know if that name there is what do you call it, performer's name or something. Sorry. So those are the birthday shout-outs on the Facebook part of things. We have been also asked to send birthday shout-out to my daughter, Jenna Gayo, who turns 40 today, and the birthday greetings are coming from her mom, Elizabeth, as well. So, Miss Jenna Gayo, happy birthday, happy 40th birthday to you. Let's look at the other ones here. Belated birthday greetings to Chastine Rankin and Sarah Orrett, who celebrated birthdays yesterday. Happiest birthdays to my sister, Rosa S. Echenike, who celebrates her birthday today as well. Going through all of them, make sure I cover everyone. I believe there's one more here. Been asked to send happy birthday and best wishes to Davion, who celebrated 73 years young yesterday, 4th of June, coming from Mario and all of Davian's friends and family from his old hometown of Mount Pleasant. Now, I have two spellings. One spelling here is Davion, and the other one is Davian. So I'm not sure whether or not one may have been, I don't know, it looks like AI generated. It's sort of highlighted, whether or not it's, but why don't we just say Davion? Happy birthday to you as well. I think that covers all of the birthday greetings. So, folks, we're going to be continuing our talk about preparedness in the Cayman Islands. Of course, 1st of June, we had hurricane season started. We have two experts in the studio with us, leading experts here in the Cayman Islands as well. If you have any questions or comments, phone lines will be open, but we want you to restrict your comments to the topic that we're talking about, which is preparedness. If you don't want to call in, you can send us WhatsApp messages on our WhatsApp number 925-3261, or you can call in our toll-free number provided courtesy of FLODAT, toll-free number 1-800-534-8255. You can also call 949-8037, 949-6990. And of course, if you do call in, then you will be greeted by that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson as well. In the studio, we have the pleasure of having the director of the National Weather Service here in the Cayman Islands, Mr. John Tibbetts, and the director of Hazard Management Cayman Islands, Ms. Danielle Coleman. No strangers to the studio. Folks, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
A very good morning to you and all your listeners, AC.
Good morning, good morning.
Excellent, excellent. We like to kick things off by starting about the weather. And everyone's talking about the Sahara dust now as well. So we're going to kick things off with you, Mr. Tibbetts.
Okay, we've had a recent plume of Sahara dust come through. We are on the back side of it now, so we should be getting improvements. The Sahara dust is coming all the way from northern Africa, and a lot of it is very high up in the atmosphere, and as it moves west, it starts to settle out, meaning that the dust starts to come back down into the lower atmosphere. Now, if you're talking about like the Eastern Caribbean, this is a major problem because they have a lot of that dust settling out in the lower levels by the time it gets to the Eastern Caribbean. By the time it gets to the Western Caribbean, most of the time our dust is still up, elevated in the sky still, but there is still some of that dust getting down into the lower atmosphere. And when the National Weather Service goes out and take our observations, we can definitely see limitations in the visibility, as everybody else can observe. Those individuals with breathing concerns, obviously, this is a time to be very cautious with. So that's where we're at with it right now.
Okay, now in my growing up days, never heard of this whole phenomenon of Sahara dust. Is it something new? Has it intensified as a result of the climate change that we're seeing? Or what is it?
I don't think it's that. I think it's more as we've gotten along in history, we're starting to pay attention more and more to things. The atmospheric circulation that we have going around that is responsible for lifting Sahara dust up from northern Africa is the same circulation that's been in there for centuries. Yes. All right. Are there tweaks in it? Yes, there are tweaks in it. But and of course, there's always going to be change. There's going to be some changes coming with climate change and what have you. There's always going to be that. But to say that Sahara dust just started this week, last year, something like that, no, it's been around for a while. It's kind of like the El Nino and La Nina cycle. You growing up in the 60s, you probably didn't hear about that kind of stuff. But the global circulation is there, and so the El Nino and La Nina cycle was around from back in those days. It's just that science has to get caught up with things and understanding. I mean, when I went to school in the mid 80s, the conversation was there about El Nino and La Nina cycles and stuff like that. But that is on the scientific side. That's not in the general public. That's a different matter. And I think as we've gone along in time, science has become quite a bit more open, and with the some of the concepts of the internet and what have you, you can go on there and you can find out just about anything you want to find out. So.
Okay, Ms. Coleman, in addition to Sahara dust, then, we have the sargassum, as
we
well.
have a lot of things going on.
So when it comes to managing hazards, and we keep emphasizing the fact that it goes way beyond hurricanes, even though here in the Cayman Islands at one point in time our focus was more on hurricanes than anything else. But now it has widened immensely, and which means that your role, hazard management's role in this, becomes even more extended as well.
Yeah, OC, I agree with you 100%. I mean, I think back in the day, as you know, even in Ivan days, we had the National Hurricane Committee, which you were very much involved in, you know it well. And of course, the focus was very much on hurricanes and hurricanes alone. And it was for several years, I think, hazard management. Hazard management was born in 2007. But for several years, and still to this day, people say it's getting into a busy season. I'm like, it's always a busy season at hazard management, because we really do deal with all hazards. I mean, just this week alone, obviously, we've been working with our colleagues from Weather and the Health Ministry on this dust and messaging around the dust, especially for people like asthmatics and those, as John mentioned, who have underlying things to be concerned about when we have thick dust in the air. But we also had an Ebola tabletop exercise earlier on this week with the Health Services Authority. Okay. We got all our emergency support teams ready for any eventuality. We have 19 of those under the National Emergency Operations Centre. But again, they will stand up for hurricanes and just about everything else that we might need them for. So we get involved in migration issues. We did a tabletop earlier this year with all our stakeholders, obviously border control in particular. But again, what would happen in Cayman if we had a massive influx of migrants arriving at one time? So hazard management led a workshop around that, a full-day workshop around that. So it's pretty much all hazards, yes, hurricanes, but everything else that comes. And as you mentioned, sargassum, we're involved in the sargassum, be it beach erosion, planning, whatever. We're sort of jack of all trades.
Okay, so I'm going to pose a question that we've received from someone, and then on the other side of the commercial break, we can talk about it as well. And it has to do with air quality measurements. And the person says that one would think that we wouldn't have to worry, being an island, a small island, that you wouldn't have to worry about air quality, other than the Sahara dust, you wouldn't have to worry about air quality. And they wanted to know which government entity would be responsible for the measurement and the measurement, monitoring, as well as announcing air quality conditions in the Cayman Islands. With that, we're going to go to a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, with Mr. John Tibbetts and Ms. Danielle Coleman, will continue after this short commercial break.
CINWS parametric insurance after hurricanes is now available for motor policies. Fixed automatic payouts cover incidental vehicle expenses like fuel, cleanup, and minor repairs. No claims, no damage required. $200 for comprehensive policies or $100 for third-party policies. Available exclusively through CINWS and included with all new motor insurance policies and upon renewal for current policies. Visit CINWS.ky today. CINWS. keeping Cayman covered.
Yeah, let me tell you, no AC when I was a boy. I still remember just how good an ice-cold Coca-Cola was.
The part is, the coolest moms and dads always had Coca-Cola or parties.
The sound when you pop the top, and the fizzle, and that, after that first sip.
Coca-Cola, from generation to generation, that ice-cold bubbly. Coca-Cola, still a Cayman classic.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Babe, not tonight. You keep poking me and I need to be rested for meetings tomorrow.
What? I was almost asleep. That's the mattress spring I keep telling you about, not me. We really need to get a new mattress.
Tossing and turning, back hurting, can't sleep? It might be time to turn in your old mattress and go to bed with a new one. Browse the huge mattress showroom at Brand Source Home Gallery and pick the perfect mattress today. With mattresses to suit every budget, Brand Source Home Gallery stocks a wide selection of sizes and styles like pillow top and gel memory foam. So stop tossing and turning and sleep better tonight with a new mattress from Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. About 10 minutes before we go to our 8 o'clock news, for those of you who are just joining us in the studio, we have the Director of the Cayman Islands National Weather Service, Mr. John Tibbetts, and the Director of Hazard Management, Cayman Islands, Ms. Dani Coleman. We're still talking about Preparedness Month. Of course, it runs from the 1st of June until
30th of November.
Until the 30th of November. Yes, in terms of hurricane season, but in terms of our discussions, and I think we're going up until the 12th of June. At least you're going to be with us here on For the Record for another show at 12th of June as well.
No,
yes.
And we may end up being much more depending on the season.
Yes.
But we love hanging out with you, so it's all good.
So before we go to the question, I just want to let our listeners also know that the format of this discussion this morning, because at some point during the discussion, we're going to have the Director General, Mr. John Tibbetts of the Cayman Islands National Weather Service, not only to speak about this year's hurricane season, but also we want him to talk about his tenure with the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. Of course, when he started, it wasn't called that either, I don't believe. And what his observations, the observations that he has made over his years regarding weather and preparedness as well. So let's go to our air quality?
Air quality. I think
Yes.
it's a really good question, and I'm really glad that I guess it wasn't the caller, it was more of the writer on WhatsApp. So air quality, yes, it is monitored very closely by Department of Environmental Health. We saw in the landfill fire that becomes a real issue when we need to look at things like evacuation, and if it's dangerous in the whereabouts. So it's not just the dust that we contend with. Obviously, it's the fires at the landfill and various other things. If there was a big spill, hazardous material spill, that would obviously be a serious consideration. Just bear in mind, a lot of these things are multi-agency responses.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, when you're bringing out a unit, one of the actual air quality units, chances are it'll be a lot of different agencies working together, albeit DEH, Department of Environmental Health, are doing this monitoring. And again, so that, we did look at the fire recently. We had a full debrief, and how do we improve that, maybe through mobile units and other things. So, watch your space, because I think more work will be done on air quality control in the future. But I know John, I'm looking, Mark, Luke and John. John here has a few things to say as well, talk about the collaboration between weather and DEH.
Were we going to include any of the other gospels? No, I just wanted to say that, the Cabinet Office is working with the National Weather Service and a bunch of other partners with regards to getting a sensors network. And when this started, it started with the National Weather Service under the old Sustainability Ministry, where we were looking for a network of automatic weather stations. And when we were going through that process, part of that process and part of the stakeholder set that we had in there was the DEH and the air quality. And the main air quality sensors generally that you need for Cayman mainly have to do with CUC and the dump area.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two main areas for the air quality. However, we have something more of a national level, like an outburst from the Sahara dust, which goes across the island, as it were. And so we were looking to add some of the air quality sensors at some point to the National Weather Service's network of automatic weather stations, of which there's supposed to be 2 installed in Grand Cayman later on. Well, they're going to finish the installation shortly,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're going to they have one in Cayman Brac and one in Little Cayman. So, but at this particular point, those automatic weather stations do not have air quality sensors on them. But we know that we've been having conversations with DEH about somehow including them in with the network in some form or fashion.
Okay. Now, on Sunday at the end of my ride, and I ended it at the Frank Sound Junction rather than trying to compete with the vehicular traffic between Frank Sound and Savannah. And the wind was basically coming out of the southeast. And it had actually picked up. So at the launch ramp, that area there where the dock is at Frank Sound, you had a combination of sargassum and then probably extending at least 75 to 80 feet out, the turbulence, and you could see the water quality there was really terrible. Mm-hmm. So if you didn't have the sargassum and now they have created a beach there, right, other than persons going there and observing, well, it doesn't look good here, the water's a little bit muddy. My question is, what about water quality as well, as far as beach users are concerned? Because we see more and more of it, of course, when the cruise ships are in, and then, of course, on the weekends when the local population then, goes to the beaches as well.
So part of the equipment setup, equipment sensors the National Weather Service are being deploying this year is expected to be 5 weather buoys. Okay, 3 of those are scheduled to be on island shortly, and they're coming from the Caribbean Institute of Meteorology and Hydrology, and then 2 are part of our storm surge sensors program. These buoys will be monitoring, will be at least doing some monitoring of the ocean. However, most of these buoys are not necessarily designed for monitoring sargassum. Sargassum, generally speaking, is monitored by individuals that are going out there and seeing things and stuff like that. It's a little bit different than the Weather Service going outside and taking an observation every hour. It's more along the lines of, a hotel on the beach and stuff like that, reporting in, hey, listen, we got some sargassum and stuff like that. Of course, you've got the like of DOE who are also monitoring as well.
I dare say you're not going to want to swim that sea as soon as you walk anywhere near it. The smell is so bad, but I'm sure there's other places to go than some of these beaches right now. We certainly have had such, quite an influx. I suspect we're going to have more and more throughout the year. But it is what it is. Unfortunately, I think nowadays with climate change and pesticides and so forth, it's just almost going to become part of our regular routine. At certain times of the year in particular.
Okay, we still have about 3 minutes before we go to our 8 o'clock news. What we're going to do is we're going to set the stage for Mr. Tibbetts.
You need a drum roll.
Talking about.
It's an important moment, OC.
Yes. And we'll start that by first of all, him telling us about his career within the civil service from the start up until now.
You want to start from now? Came and did a comms team from government came and did an interview with me yesterday.
Oh.
And we sat down over an hour chatting about it and stuff like that. So it's, one of the things I bucked up on recently, I was looking through some photos and it just popped up, and it's a picture of myself as a young, scrawny 19-year-old kid about a month into my career. And now 41 years later.
Wow.
So it's been quite a ride. When I graduated from Cayman Islands High School, just prior to it, I'd actually done some work experience with air traffic control in the Department of Civil Aviation at that point. And after I finished graduating and what have you, and I back in those days, you don't get your grades until back in August or September or something like that. But this is like in April. When all of your exams have just been concluded and all this kind of stuff. So me and my mother went in with my application form to become an air traffic control officer.
Okay.
And I was sitting in front of Mr. Sheldon Hislop, the director of the Department of Civil Aviation at the time, and he looked at my grades and goes like, "Yeah, John, I don't think you want you as an air traffic. I got a different idea for you. We want to start a weather service." And
Can I just interrupt really quickly? The irony that you've been in your building has been in on the landing strip for so many years. It's not lost on any of us.
Oh, that's got some. that in itself has some interesting tales to it. But interestingly enough, that my linkages to weather goes back a little bit further than that. One of my qualifications is my A-level geography. And when you were in Cayman Islands High School and you're doing A-level geography, part of the job was basically taking weather observations at the school.
Oh.
So there was a Stevenson screen there with thermometers in it that we used to have to go out and measure the temperatures and what have you. So the last couple of years, I was being exposed to meteorology to a certain point. Okay? And that's a big battle internationally about meteorology. Because where you find meteorology first is geography, but meteorology is a science. So they're always fussing and fighting with it. But it's interesting that because I have that A-level geography and stuff like that, that in later years it would become very important to me, and you would see what the role of geography is in meteorology. Because when I, as a little 19-year-old kid, hadn't gone off to university yet. I was plotting surface charts, and Mr. Sambula goes, "Yeah, John, you kind of messed up on this surface chart, so I'm not going to analyze it." And the little excited 19-year-old kid goes, "Yeah, well, can I analyze it?" And he hadn't taught me yet, but I used my training from out of A-level geography, where we did height contours. I used that training, as it were, to draw my very first surface chart with Mr. Sambula.
Okay, folks, what you're hearing there is the story of Mr. John Tibbetts, his career as a civil servant with the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. We also have in the studio with us the Director of Hazard Management, Cayman Islands, Ms. Danielle Coleman. We're going to go to our 8 o'clock news. When we return at 8:15, the conversation will continue with both of them, so don't change that dial. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The Central Planning Authority greenlights several projects at its May 13th meeting. Up first, the board granted conditional approval for a contested after-the-fact application for a takeout restaurant on North Church Street and Boddentown in central Georgetown, but for 1 year only. In its reasoning, the CPA wrote, while restaurants are generally permitted in the general commercial zone, the food stalls, quote, do not provide for an appropriate visual image that would encourage further development of the tourism industry or improve the commercial area of the island. As such, the authority has determined that approval can be granted for, quote, 1 year only, which will afford the applicant time to formulate plans for closing the business. The CPA also approved an application for a house, pool, carport, cabana, and shed off Sunnyfield Road in East End. This application site consists of primary habitat, predominantly primary dry shrubland near the Selina Colliers Reserve, which is one of the few areas where the endemic blue iguana lives. In another environmentally sensitive project, the CPA also greenlit an application by Bronte Property Group for a house with a pool on Boggy Sand Road in West Bay. The beach at the site has been designated as critical turtle nesting habitat. The NCC laid out directed conditions for approval of the application, which included a plan for turtle-friendly lighting. Health officials say air quality readings across Grand Cayman during the current Sahara dust event over the last 2 days remained within the, quote, good to moderate range of the United States Air Quality Index.
Firstly, I want to thank the teams at the Department of Environmental Health for their hard work. The data they collected across schools and the community gives us a good picture of the air quality conditions during this dust event.
Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Mark Paramlal says government is reassured that readings have remained within the good to moderate range and that indoor environments at local schools showed students had, quote, good air quality. The National Weather Service discontinued its dust alert for the Cayman Islands Thursday afternoon. And mark your calendars for this year's King's Birthday Parade. Here's CIGTV's Levita Thompson.
Residents are invited to attend the King's birthday celebration and presentation of honors ceremony scheduled for Monday, June 15th outside the Government House on West Bay Road. The ceremony is set to begin promptly at 8 a.m., preceded by the parade march at approximately 7:35 a.m. Members of the public who wish to attend in person are encouraged to be seated by 7:30 a.m. to ensure the event runs smoothly.
Radio Cayman will be carrying the event live. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with Moira Alderson. Ukraine says it's carried out marine drone attacks on vessels in the Sea of Azov and its ports. It said it had targeted dry cargo vessels and a tanker carrying grain stolen from Russian-occupied Ukrainian fields. Kiev claimed the vessels had their names painted over. Azerbaijan said 5 of its citizens were killed in the attacks. Ukrainian officials have admitted that one drone exploded in the Romanian Black Sea port of Constanța, far from the Azov Sea. President Putin is delivering the keynote address to his annual economic forum in St. Petersburg today, with aides insisting Russia remains as powerful as ever. Moscow is running an increasingly large budget deficit because of its invasion of Ukraine. Nigeria has become the latest African country to say it will repatriate citizens from South Africa following a wave of anti-migrant protests and violence. Ghana, Malawi and Mozambique have already begun bringing their nationals home. Nigeria says it expects more than 1,000 to return. Mali's military government has banned the use of motorcycles outside urban areas in an attempt to tackle armed groups. The insurgents often move across Sahel terrain quickly on bikes. Israel's warned it will attack in 9 areas in southern Lebanon as fighting continues, despite a nominal ceasefire. The influential Lebanese parliamentary speaker, who's allied to Hezbollah, has said he would agree to the group withdrawing from the south if Israel does the same. School children in Italy will, from now on, only receive sex education if their parents give permission. The requirement was included in a Senate bill. Critics have described it as absurd. A former wife of a nephew of the ruler of Dubai has been detained as a custody battle over their 3 young daughters deepens. Prosecutors said Zainab Javadla was arrested following a complaint made by her children's father. That's the latest. BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
The Atlantic hurricane season has officially begun, and while the 2026 forecast currently indicates a below-average season, it only takes one storm to cause a significant impact. The Water Authority is urging its customers and the wider public to prepare for the season. The Water Authority is conducting its usual seasonal readiness activities, which focus on protecting its critical assets, such as stored water pumps and pipelines, which are all necessary to ensure access to safe drinking water after a storm. Depending on weather conditions, the authority may need to proactively turn off the water supply before a storm to ensure sufficient water is available after it passes. This is why it is critical that customers store water before a storm approaches. Ensure you have an emergency 3-day supply of drinking water for every member of your household. That is 1 gallon per person per day. You should stock more water for vulnerable persons, including infants, pregnant, and nursing mothers, and the elderly, as well as for your pets. Additionally, you would store water for non-drinking purposes, such as sanitation. Throughout the hurricane season, the Water Authority will share important preparedness tips on its Facebook and Instagram pages to help you stay prepared. Additionally, guidance and updates can be found on our website, www.waterauthority.ky/hurricane-preparedness.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Britcade, where people come first.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 85 degrees. Relative humidity is 76%. The barometric pressure, 1014.8 millibars. The wind is southeast at 5 knots. Synopsis indicate an area in an upper level trough over the Cayman area, combined with moisture over the northwest Caribbean, is expected to bring some showers with possible thunder. A gradual decrease in Saharan dust concentrations continue across the region today as the dust plume drifts westward toward the Yucatan Peninsula. Satellite imagery indicate multiple layers of low and high level clouds over the Cayman area. Now the forecast for today, calling for cloudy skies with a 30% chance of afternoon showers and possible thunder, and temperatures today will be in the low 90s with a heat index near 103 degrees Fahrenheit. Your winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Forecast for tonight calling for partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures dipping to the upper 70s tonight. Your winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet as well. We're presently at a low tide, and the next high tide will be this afternoon at 12:46, with a low tide again this evening at 6:46. The sun will set this evening at 7 and rise tomorrow morning at 5:47. And the outlook is calling for an increase in moisture over the northwest Caribbean from tomorrow afternoon, along with the upper level trough, expecting to linger across the Western Caribbean to keep the possibility of scattered showers through the weekend. And that's the very latest on your weather report.
We were on the edge of a breakthrough. I knew the substance was extraterrestrial, but I didn't realize.
Aunt Angie, what does this have to do with managing my insurance?
Well, long story long, the entire lab exploded, and the radioactive sludge went everywhere. I ended up in the hospital for a few weeks, but I was able to manage everything with the CG Online portal.
The online portal. Safe, convenient, simple. CG Britgay. Good like that.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Britgay, where people come first.
If you or your loved one is facing cancer, only Sylvester will stand firmly by your side at every step, from diagnosis through survivorship, providing you and your family peace of mind and assisting with everything you need before, during, and after your stay with us. Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center is South Florida's only NCI-designated cancer center and specializes in treating the most complex cancer cases. Your first-class cancer care is just a flight away. Learn more at sylvester.org.
Are you ready for hurricane season? Maybe it's time to invest in your own RAM water tank. RAM water tanks boast superior strength, made to withstand harsh conditions and impact resistance. Mobile truck tanks, 225 gallons in white, green, and blue, and 600-gallon water tanks. Buy two, get the third 50% off. Order your RAM water tank today. Call 925-3822. RAM water tanks, built to last a lifetime. On sale now until June 30th or while supplies last.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Morning, Cayman Islands. Happy Friday. Let's take a look at what's happening on the roads. Coming off of the Bobby Thompson Way, traffic is moving at a moderate pace, as well as off Agnes Way off the Linford Pearson Highway. Looking to the east on Shamrock Road, traffic is flowing at a moderate pace. A different story as you approach the Linford Pearson Highway, steady but flowing. No issues on Owen Roberts Drive. It's a smooth ride into the airport. And coming from the West Bay four-way stop, flowing nicely. On the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. And traffic moving pretty good coming off of the Esley Tibbetts Highway. And continuing on to North Sound Road, traffic is at a steady pace. Industrial Park area, no issues there as traffic is moderate. If you've seen accidents, let us know by calling us at 949-6990. And the usual traffic flow coming to Georgetown area on Walkers Road. Join us again at about 10 minutes past 12. We'll give you another look at traffic. Remember, drive good, Cayman.
Start your year off right with Subway's Fresh Fit menu. 4 protein-packed subs with 20 grams or more protein, under 500 calories, and loaded with full servings of crisp veggies on hearty multi-grain bread. Try the grilled chicken and avocado, the ham and turkey stacker, the seasoned steak and avocado, or the turkey and ranch delight. Big flavor, plenty of protein, and fresh veggies in every bite. Fuel your day the Fresh Fit way. Only at Subway. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
The 25th Annual Talent Exposition of the Arts, Hope, is here. Presented by the new Self-Help Foundation, Sunday, June 28th at the Hawkville Theater. Proudly sponsored by Cayman Electrical Supply, Alba Elevators, Alba Services, Elite Marble and Granite, Brown's Esso, Mike's Esso, Delworks Esso, Ministry of Caymanian Employment and Immigration, Ministry of Education and Training, AA Rubis, and Dr. Steve Tomlinson. Tickets are available from the #1 shoe shop and Winner Circle Sports. Prepaid tickets $15 CI or $20 CI at the gate. Talent Exposition of the Arts, Poetry, Dance, Musical Theater, and Creative Teachings. Hosted by Anika Jefferson and Lloyd Barker. Part proceeds from this event to benefit the Pines Retirement Home.
Calling Caymanians. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service is hiring local recruits. Are you interested in serving your community on the front line? Apply now to join our ranks in service to the Cayman Islands. As a police officer, you make a difference. Be a part of a team and experience a job where no two shifts are the same. The deadline for applications is Sunday, June 14th at midnight. Visit rcips.ky to apply now and start your journey with the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service.
With Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. For those of you who are just joining us, we're talking about preparedness here in the Cayman Islands. That conversation is taking place with the Director of Hazard Management Cayman Islands, Ms. Dani Coleman, and the Director General of the Cayman Islands National Weather Service, Mr. John Tibbetts. Before we went to our 8 o'clock news, Mr. Tibbetts, we asked him to talk about his career path through the civil service, as well as during his tenure, his observations over the years regarding weather and preparedness as well. So, Mr. Tibbetts, we're going to throw the mic right back over to you.
Okay, so after hiring, obviously, into the National Weather Service as a weather observer, shortly thereafter, within a couple of years, I was sent to Barbados Regional Training Center to become a qualified weather forecaster. In terms of disaster management in the 80s and 90s, really and truly, the disaster management, the form of it was in the form of the Hurricane Committee, run by Mr. Kirkland Nixon from the fire department. And one of the things about it that with all that they accomplished, there was nobody that was really dedicated solely to disaster management. Okay, and so there was always conversations behind the scenes and stuff like that, that what we desired to have was an organization that was committed and dedicated specifically to disaster management. So shortly after hiring, the first exciting thing that happened to me was the passage of Hurricane Gilbert, and that came in 1988. And at that point, there's only 2 members of staff in the weather office, and it's an aviation weather office. Our main purpose was providing pilots briefings for pilots coming into and out of the country, and taking aviation observations and producing aviation forecasts. And that has always been a significant part of the weather service. By the time we get into the 90s and getting all the way to 1998, the next big storm that we had was Hurricane Mitch, 200 miles away and about $14 million worth of damage. And the $14 million worth of damage was caused when the storm was going away from us. Mm-hmm. Okay? I will tell the Cayman Islands people that 2 storms that were both impacted the Cayman Islands in different kinds of ways, Hurricane Ivan and Hurricane Mitch. To a certain extent, you lucked out, because Hurricane Mitch was a monster on a different level. It was much more powerful, and it was moving much slower. Okay, and everybody, history will tell you what it did to Honduras. But by that time, our weather service had started to grow and what have you. We had become a forecast office in the late 1980s after Hurricane Mitch, where the regional recognition was such that it was decided that the Cayman Islands was developing their weather service and being able to provide the services for the Cayman Islands. The 2 names that kind of stick out with the National Weather Service has been myself and Mr. Fred Sambula. Mr. Fred Sambula is basically the father of the National Weather Service. He is the one that took the organization from an aviation weather office to a forecast office to a national weather service in May of 2010. And those are on his list of many accomplishments. And I give a kudos, and he has. I have a lot. I owe him a lot because he's the one, as I said, my career was to go to air traffic control, and he taught me how to love weather. And so going forward, then we went all the way to 2004 when we had Hurricane Ivan went through and what have you. By that time, the staffing numbers had gone up quite a bit. It wasn't just me and Fred anymore. We had other forecasters and other observers and what have you. Mm-hmm. The disaster management office was actually the fire station. Mm-hmm. All right, and many very significant members of the civil service community were all part of that hurricane committee. Including Mr. O.C. But there's we were under the directions of Mr. Donovan Ebanks, and there were other people that came into play and what have you. There are too many names to mention everybody in there. But after Hurricane Ivan, things started to change. The desire to have standalone disaster managers, individuals that weren't a fireman by day and then a disaster manager part-time, it had to change. And so from out of Hurricane Ivan, the blessings that you got was the formation of Hazards Management Cayman Islands, mm-hmm. and the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. Hazards Management is 2007, National Weather Service is 2010. Okay, so in terms of the BRAC, because the Cayman BRAC Airport was listed as an international airport, there was an agreement between the National Weather Service and Aviation to put a weather office over there as well. Okay. Now that weather office is not as developed as the one here in Grand Cayman. It doesn't have any forecasters. It has weather observers. And the aviation forecasts are actually produced by our forecasters here in Grand Cayman. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So that's kind of a down and dirty version of the National Weather Service. We are now on the verge, finally, of moving into our own home. The National Weather Service building has been constructed, and we are days, months, weeks, something in that order, whichever one it is, from having the building completed and all of the certificate of occupancy and moving into the building and what have you. After which time I'll be saying my goodbyes. So
going back to air traffic control.
No, well, in some ways.
So, couple of questions here, and I had this up on the screen before. I'm gonna probably have to put in a password to get to it again. Okay. So I was looking at an article in the Trade Winds newspaper, and this was in 1966, and they reported that we experienced our first storm of the season, Hurricane Alma, that had been named. And a part of that story, the newspaper talks about Mr. Felix de la Osa, who was from the Cuban, he was from the Cuban Meteorological Station, which was established here in Cayman, and also that the United States Weather Bureau had officially named the first hurricane of 1966 with the name Alma that I pointed out before. So we had Mr. Felix de la Osa from the Cuban Weather Service posted here in the Cayman Islands. We also had the presence of Mr. Frank Rolston Sr., and the persons like Miss Alice Anderson and Miss Polly and her sister, and all of those. Can we talk about that and their role and the Cayman Islands Weather Service coming after that as well, in terms of your knowledge, what you know about those?
Okay, so interestingly, I did not have any interaction with the Cuban government.
Okay,
but be careful of that, John. But anyway, with the Cuban-led weather office that was here, and that was here from the 1930s.
Mm-hmm.
But they would have come out if he was here in 1966, he would have been on probably post the Cuban office, because in the 1950s is when the U.S. Upper Air Office was installed. And the general idea by that time was that the Cuban Weather Office was going to go away, and then the U.S. U.S. Upper Air Office kind of came in its place.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And of course, 1959 would have changed things, as well, as far as Cuba's concerned.
So the thing about it is that whenever kids are coming through my office and they're taking tours and what have you, things have changed so much, because the career of meteorology within the National Weather Service has become quite a bit male dominated. But in the days of the Upper Air Station, it was quite female dominated, with the one exception, Mr. Frank Rolston, who managed the office for a number of years. Without a proper weather office here in the Cayman Islands, save the U.S. Upper Air Office, he became a version of weather knowledge here on the island, and even some guesstimates or some basic type forecasting that I remember he was doing and stuff like that. People asking him, says, "Well, is it going to rain today?" He goes, "Yeah, I looked at my up air chart, my up air sounding, and yeah, it looks like we're going to get some rain today." So obviously we've become quite a bit more than that. Mm-hmm. Now, why I say that it was quite female dominated is Mr. Olson's the only guy that's in there. There was a couple other guys that have come through over short periods of time, but the dominant careers were of I think it's 4 ladies, and I think you went through and you mentioned them just now.
Miss Alice, Miss Polly, Miss Lillimay,
Miss Lillimay,
and there's
Lillimay. I think, and then at a later time, Sharon Ebanks came online.
Okay.
Yeah, Sharon was the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, when we merged in the 90s with the Upper Air Station, Miss Sharon hung around a little bit with us, and we actually sent her she actually went off to Barbados to do some training with us and stuff like that. Okay. So our new National Weather Service building will take over the upper air duties. We're doing the upper air duties from the General Aviation Terminal, and this is the same location it's been since the 1950s. All right, and that will change within the next month or two, hopefully, when we move it across the street behind Jose's gas station.
Mm-hmm. For the benefit of our listening and viewing audience, upper air.
Upper air is
what you're talking about.
Pardon me. I sometimes forget. Upper air is where the weather office releases weather balloons, mm-hmm. and the weather balloons are the transport part of it, but it's the main part is the radiosonde, which is a meteorological instrument that measures the temperature and pressure and what have you. And it's measuring that as it ascends up into the sky and what have you. And so we end up getting a profile of temperature and dew point, and the difference between the two of those gives us a measure of the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. Because we're tracking the balloon and stuff like that, we also get upper level winds and what have you. And there's a network of these all around the world, thousands upon thousands of upper air stations around the world. And all of that data, it then goes first into the weather models themselves, and then the weather models can spit out what we call the gridded upper level winds. Mm-hmm. So take it, for example, Cayman Airways. Cayman Airways might be flying at 24,000 feet. All right. Once it gets up to 24,000 feet, what Earth surface winds are means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They need to know the winds at 24,000. And these upper air balloons is what was providing that information.
Okay, got you. Got
Okay.
you. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. So, folks, we're going to go to a commercial break. On the other side of that commercial break as well, I'm going to invoke some names now. The late Kirkland Nixon, and you also heard the late Donovan A. Banks' name called as well. We have still with us Mr. McCleary, Frederick, and Dr. Carby as well. So we're going to switch over to the Hazard Management Cayman Islands and talk about its history as well. So we're going to put Miss Dani Coleman on the spot in relation to that. I'm sure she'll get some assistance from Mr. Tibbetts, as well.
ChatGPT.
About the earlier years. So don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. We're taking a different approach this morning to preparedness because we believe that it is important to know exactly where we are coming from as well. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite band-aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. But don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superhero shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
CINWS parametric insurance after hurricanes is now available for motor policies. Fixed automatic payouts cover incidental vehicle expenses like fuel, cleanup, and minor repairs. No claims, no damage required. $200 for comprehensive policies or $100 for third-party policies. Available exclusively through CINWS and included with all new motor insurance policies and upon renewal for current policies. Visit CINWS.ky today. CINWS, keeping Cayman covered.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. For those of you who are just joining us, we're talking about Preparedness Month here in the Cayman Islands. That conversation is taking place with Mr. John Tibbetts and Miss Dani Coleman. We're also giving you an insight into the history of the organizations that they head up, which is the Cayman Islands National Weather Service and Hazard Management Cayman as well. So we're giving you a history of both of those. Before I throw the mic over to Ms. Coleman, we have been asked to send happy birthday greetings to cousins Chris Goddard and Brian Whitaker, and those birthday greetings are coming from Mr. Tommy Ebanks and the staff at TCE Paint Shop. So happy birthday to Mr. Chris Goddard and also Mr. Brian Whitaker. Dani.
Thank you, OC. So the history of hazard management, obviously, before in the 1970s and up to 2007, it was the National Hurricane Committee and various other elements of that. But in 2007, after Hurricane Ivan, obviously hazard management was born to deal with sort of multi-hazards, but also helping coordinate multi-agencies in those hazards. Obviously, the first founding director, I believe, was Miss Barbara Carberry, and she's still, she's obviously still very doing a lot of work still in the region. And of course, Mr. McCleary Frederick was very, very much involved and became the director. I'm not entirely sure what year that was, but I took over from him in 2015, I believe it was. Or 16 maybe, when he retired. And then, of course, he went back to work with Ofreg and Planning Department and is very much a big part still of government, civil service, as well as, obviously checks in with us a lot, which is great. It's always good to have his guidance, and I do call him up once in a while to talk about certain things and get his advice on that. So, yes, we're a young-ish organisation, but we've seen different iterations over the years. And again, I think what we've morphed into over the last sort of 5, 6, 7 years is, again, that sort of multi-agency collaboration, sort of like the coordinators of anything. So if you see like a dump fire, a landfill fire, for example, very rarely is that just one organisation. Of course, we appreciate that the fire guys are on the fire, putting the fire out. But, there's a lot more to an emergency at the dump than just putting the fire out. It can be comms, it could be evacuation, it could be messaging, it could be resources. They may need even things like food and water or, buses to evacuate people or whatever that looks like. So that's kind of our role. Hazard management's role is very much the coordinator of any large-scale emergency. And, I think over the last few years we've done a lot of training with our multi-agency partners in the sort of incident command field. So both from bronze, silver, gold and the executive level. In fact, just tomorrow we're picking up the trainers for next week's training, because we have training for the whole week at all levels, including the annual hurricane exercise on Friday the 12th with all those different agencies. And again, as I mentioned, from bronze to the executive level, we need to make sure we're all speaking the same language. And again, and also how if there's a fire, for example, or an attack of some sort, a hazard materials spill or something like that, they'll often start with one agency being the lead agency. But, there's other agencies, we have to have a sort of standardized protocols to how do we make sure that everyone's responding in a unified way and doing their part, and also taking a bit of the burden off the lead agency, because we don't want the lead agency who's focusing, for example, on putting a fire out to have to think about masks or water or food or evacuation. So that's what we're there for. And again, we're developing more and more over the years and just trying to sort of, ensure that we're doing what we can to make sure any responses are effective.
Okay.
Can I add something there?
Sure, John. Go right ahead. Yeah.
Something that was just going through my mind and what have you is that for those of us that are not young spring chickens anymore.
I don't think any of us are. I just called you Mark earlier.
that go back with our memories in the 60s and 70s and what have you, and remember all of those nasty nor'westers that we used to have.
Yes.
And if you ask a lot of us, we will tell you that the nor'westers of those days were quite a bit more severe than most of what we get today.
Yep.
There are some exceptions, obviously, but we would have those massive nor'westers. Back in the 80s and what have you, when we were getting those nasty nor'westers, the weather office, we were putting out forecasts to say, hey, you're getting a nasty nor'wester coming in. However,
we didn't call them cold fronts those days.
And I call them nice nor'westers. I love a good nor'wester. Yes, it does do some damage.
Except when the waves were coming across the road and all that kind of stuff. But my point would have been is that back in those days, Weather Office puts out the warnings about the weather system center. Then what? Because there was no hazards management. The Hurricane Committee was designed for hurricanes.
Yep.
Yeah, we didn't have an agency to handle those kinds of systems. And so you see some of the great value that the Hazards Management Cayman Islands brings to the table. Not to mention they've been handling some things that not the regular run of the mill things like COVID and major dump fires and what have you. So kudos out to hazards management team. Kudos out to the government for the formation of the team, and especially to Ms. Dani Coleman, because I believe, with all respect to everything and anything that came before her in hazards management, there's a wider scope and a wider vision of what hazards management is today than when it was started.
As a matter
Thank you, John. Thank you, Mark.
Yep. As a matter of fact, I found an article in the Compass, and that's dated the 24th of July, 2006, and it talks about the new National Emergency Management Agency, which it was called then, new head named, and it talks about Dr. Carby. And at that time, there were something like about 99 applicants for the position when it was advertised.
It's funny.
Applicants.
Well, it's funny. I found an email that I'd sent to McCleary about 20 years ago. Probably maybe 17 years ago, begging for a job. and I didn't work, obviously, hazard management until I joined them about 9.5 years ago. So it took me a while to get in the door, but it was a funny email when I read it. I'm like, I love this agency. I think they're doing amazing things. And that was, 17 years ago.
But you did have interactions with them, because I believe you were with Red Cross, right?
Yeah, so my background with Red Cross, we work very closely with them on the CERT teams, which are still very much alive and well. In fact, the CERT teams nowadays are very, very strong. It's community emergency response teams. And we did a lot of work with presentations at schools with hazard management. It was Simon and Omar at the time doing that. And it was always a very strong relationship. And it's good that we're still there, because I think that relationship, Red Cross being an auxiliary to hazard management, auxiliary to government, it's a really good thing even this morning I was looking at humanitarian relief plans and recovery plans. And that's our sort of focus over the next couple of months, is to make sure that our relief methodology is really well ironed out and impartial and independent and neutral and all the rest of it. And of course, our recovery. I think a few lessons from Melissa last year were very clear. It's like, we're all pretty good at preparedness across the region. We have things lined up. We check every year. We're very much focusing on making sure our infrastructure is ready to go and our public education and this and that. But we're not all that good at recovery. So what happens in the aftermath, like Melissa, when the waves have subsided, the wind's gone, but you're left with a very derelict landscape. And how do you get things back up and running? And I think, we were focusing. Ironically, when the Premier asked me last year what I thought about Melissa, I said, it's the first time ever I've really, dusted off those relief and recovery plans. And yes, it didn't happen to be for Cayman, but of course we used a lot of that last year with, working with our partners in Jamaica.
Yep. So here, I'm going to, before we go to a commercial break, share this with you and our audience as well. So here's is a quote from the late Donovan Ebanks, who was at that point in time, in 2006, he was the acting chief secretary and also the National Hurricane Committee chairperson as well. I am delighted that we have been able to attract someone of Dr. Carby's credentials to assist at this crucial stage of setting up our own agency. With her wealth of experience, she will also serve as an excellent mentor to Mr. McCleary Frederick, the Deputy Director Designate, who I am confident will be able to take over the leadership of the agency in a few years. And that was a quote coming from the late Donovan Ebanks. Folks, with that, we're going to take a commercial break. We do have a WhatsApp caller, and we are going to take that caller as soon as we return. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio, Miss Dani Coleman and Mr. John Tibbetts. We're going to our WhatsApp caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. O'Connor.
Morning, sir. How are you?
Okay, and you?
I'm good, thanks. Go ahead, caller. Okay, we're experiencing a little technical difficulty there with our caller. He may have some problems on his end. Let's try him again now and see. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, go right ahead.
Yes, concerning preparedness, what Ms. Coleman and Mr. Tibbetts are saying are things that we practically hear every year when it comes to being prepared. And as a Caymanian, I know all these things. And
do you believe all Caymanians know all of it?
Well, unless they're little children that really don't understand.
Okay.
But if they're teenagers from the age of a teenager and up, I'm pretty sure they understand.
Okay.
And speaking of being prepared, I've noticed that since Hurricane Ivan, there has been a lot more seaweed in the area, which says that the ocean floor is getting hotter. Over the last 25 years, the government has given away over $1 billion worth of concessions. Money that belongs to the people of the Cayman Islands to build hurricane shelters. If they had collected that money, they would have had the money that we needed to build a hurricane shelter in every district with the foundation at least 10 feet in height and at least 5 stories in height that can hold at least 1,500 people. Since Ivan, there has been a lot of land being filled in, which is going to cause a lot more flooding. And from what I see, we're going to get something worse than Ivan. It's pretty much like the landfill. If the government had collected these concessions, we could have had the best recycling landfill in the world and not faced what we're facing with today. And when it comes to hurricanes, the landfill is very dangerous from the debris that is filled in there at that landfill. And when governments continue to put people in hurricane shelters that are level with the ground, knowing that so much land has now been filled in, which is going to cause so much more greater flooding and putting especially old people and children. And there are a lot of people on our island now that cannot even swim. So when it comes to being prepared, our governments in the past and our governments present, I don't hear them speaking of these things. I know Mr. Tibbetts and Ms. Coleman are educated and have studied when it comes to these things. And there might be a reason why they haven't approached them concerning the things that I'm speaking about. But what I'm speaking about is facts.
Mm-hmm.
Cayman is 3 feet below sea level, and I know it has to be higher now because of global warming. And the National Hurricane Center in Miami has said that Cayman Islands is the bullseye for hurricanes when it comes to hurricane season. And are we prepared the way that we should be? No. And that's facts.
Mm-hmm. Caller, thank you very much for that. I'm not sure that the government has said that they don't have money, to build hurricane shelters, though.
I think with anything, it's a budget as in priority. Where did your budget go? And of course, building a shelter that's just for a hurricane or any emergency is not necessarily the best use of money. You've got to use it for multi-purpose, like school halls and making sure it's got multi-purpose usage. I do think the caller brings up some interesting points, though. We do come obviously here and talk about preparedness and how to get ready. For one, I think children are probably the best listeners in the entire universe. Every time we go to a school, if there's a tsunami, they're the ones that understand what to do much better than parents do. So I think we should never underestimate the knowledge of children and exactly how they know how to respond. They don't overanalyze things, they just do what they're told to do. In regards to some of the other things that we haven't talked about today about preparedness, there's a heck of a lot going on between the Weather Service and Hazard Management with our other stakeholders on modern technologies. We're using IoT flood sensors these days. We're looking at modelling, storm surge modelling. We're looking at tsunami modelling. We're looking at a lot of data-driven things. So we want to make sure our decisions and the decisions of our allocation of resources, be it building these shelters or, evacuating people, are very much evidence-based and not based on, different ideas, emotions. And again, don't get me wrong. I mean, every time we've been working on increasing hurricane shelters for years, and every time I see the population growth, I just shudder. Not so much because of the growth, because that's almost expected, but the fact that we can't move that pinpoint for the percentage of the population to cover shelters. So we do a lot of work throughout the whole year with our partners from PWD, NRA, health services and so forth to make sure the shelters are fit for purpose. And we have actually added on a few extra this year, albeit there's others that we have a couple of minor issues with. So that work is always going on in the background. It may never be talked about as much as we could do, but we're also focusing very much on increasing our national emergency notification system. So as you know, we had the phase 1, which is interrupting all the radio stations from our office and our phones. We can do that 2 o'clock in the morning. We can do that any time of day. But obviously people don't listen to the radio all day long. So, OC, if you're on all day, they might. But no. But we also have the app again. Then the app, which is it's email.
I was talking about someone about that this morning.
Well, the app is so important, But again, the overall game plan here is the cellular broadcast, and that's again what we're working with our partners at Flow and Digicel to increase that SMS capacity. But really, in the grand scheme of things, that cellular broadcast means that if we send the alert off, again, anyone on the cruise ship who hasn't downloaded the app will be notified. Anyone coming on the plane who hasn't downloaded the app. Right now, we've got 11,000 people who've downloaded the app. Now, given we've got 91,000 people on the island, there's 80,000 people out there who haven't done that, and that's not even talking about the tourists. So it's really important. We're asking the public to do their bit to make sure they are aware. And again, anything else we could do to help with that. But I do want to make sure that the caller is aware that there is a lot of the infrastructure behind the scenes that happens to make sure that our shelters and our infrastructure, critical infrastructure, is protected from any emergency.
John?
All right. So there are a lot of things to digest from the caller. But as soon as the caller finished, I remember, OC was getting up to kind of respond. And it gets back to the concept of us continually having to do hurricane exercises and what have you. And I remember some of the conversation back in the 90s with the Hurricane Committee. And one of the problems that we were having at times is that there was a turnover of significant individuals within the Hurricane Committee. And so every time you get somebody new in a significant position in the Hurricane Committee, you have to educate that person and bring that person up to par. And I'm sure Mrs. Coleman has that problem with hazards management, Cayman Islands. And please understand, the Hurricane Committee, it still exists. It is part of hazards management program. It's just called by a different name. A lot of the players are the same. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, there was the comment about the hurricane shelters. What the caller doesn't know is that right after Hurricane Ivan went through, the United States government sent down a team from FEMA, and what they were investigating was how the Cayman Islands did hurricane shelters, because they wanted to learn from us, because they have one of the big disasters that they potentially have is Key West and that whole area down there, where for most part it's an evacuation process. All right, so they wanted to look at evacuation versus hurricane shelters. All right, and the representative came down here and he took, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 pictures in one afternoon on touring the island and seeing the damage and seeing the coastal area in particular, how they were damaged. All right. The third point I want to bring up, and this was basically, this goes back a little bit in the conversation with Dani coming over from Red Cross to eventually becoming the grand poobah of hazards management. Kudos to Miss Juliana O'Connor Connolly. When she took over as Premier, one of her requests was National Weather Service, hazards management as part of the Cabinet Office. Okay? And then to big up the rest of the Cabinet Office, especially our Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Samuel Rose, for the continued close bonding of the National Weather Service and hazards management, and building around that things like the comms team and what have you, to ensure a smoother, more efficient process of communication and dealing with various disaster management issues.
Excellent, excellent. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask you, we don't have any other guest schedule. I'm going to ask you if you stay on for an additional 15 minutes, because I haven't even given you an opportunity for some closing comments. But we want to hone in a little bit more on that last point that you made there, and talk about the progress that has been made. And, in terms of the future, what can we look forward in terms of the future, and ensuring also that, because we know when new administrations come along, there's a tendency sometimes to change up the configuration of things, and how can we ensure that this particular configuration stays in place as well. Folks, please stay tuned. We're going to go to headline news. When we return, the conversation will continue, so please stay tuned.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
This is the People's Radio Station. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
The Minister for Tourism leads the Cayman delegation in New York for Caribbean Week. Throughout the week, the minister participated in ministerial meetings, media engagements, and discussions focused on strengthening tourism across the Caribbean and advancing the Cayman Islands' interests in the regional stage. In international news, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor received an undisclosed rental income from subletting 3 cottages on the Royal Lodge estate that he leased from the Crown Estate, according to a public spending watchdog. The National Audit Office report also revealed that the king pays the rent for accommodation in royal palaces for Mountbatten Windsor's daughters, Princesses Eugenie and Beatrice, who are not working royals. It's the first report into royal residences in 20 years and shows Mountbatten Windsor and his family and staff had 12 properties owned by the Crown Estate or the royal household. There's no suggestion in the NAO report of any wrongdoing by Mountbatten Windsor. And Volodymyr Zelensky has called for face-to-face meetings between himself and Vladimir Putin in a renewed bid to end the war. In an open letter to the Russian president, the Ukrainian leader said it would be, quote, wrong to simply wait until the war in Europe becomes the focus of the U.S.'s attention once more, adding peace could come only, quote, through direct engagement between Ukraine and Russia. He also called for a full ceasefire for the duration of proposed negotiations, something Putin ruled out earlier on Thursday. U.S. President Donald Trump said he thought it would be, quote, great if the two leaders met. The Kremlin has confirmed it received the letter. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Your Cayman Islands Health Services Authority has been the national healthcare provider of the Cayman Islands for many generations. We have elevated our level of care to ensure you, our patients, have the best possible experience. We offer better access to care close to home with the most locations on all 3 islands, delivering a full range of primary, secondary, tertiary, and emergency care. HSA is a JCI accredited organization, and we are committed to caring for you.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I want to say thank you to our panel for agreeing to remain with us for an additional 15 minutes. They were scheduled to end at 9 o'clock, but they have agreed. A conversation is getting so intense, so much to cover as well. And of course, for those of you who are just joining us, our panelists in the studio, they are Ms. Dani Coleman, who is the Director of Hazard Management Cayman Islands, and Mr. John Tibbetts, who is the Director General of the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. We have been also asked to send out birthday greetings, upcoming birthday greetings to Miss Veronica Brown of the Port Authority. She will be celebrating her birthday on Monday the 8th, and her friends and co-workers at the Port Authority are wishing her a happy birthday in advance. That is to Miss Veronica Brown. Okay, see some good news, folks, on the international front as well. There's an article for those of you who may be interested in this on BBC News today, written by Matt McGrath, who is the environment correspondent, and also Esme Stallard, who's a climate and science reporter for BBC. Mangrove forests are healing after decades of human destruction. I would love it if we could say that.
Yeah, I was going to say
specifically for the Cayman Islands as well. Unfortunately, we can't.
No, it's so true. I mean, mangroves are a very natural buffer. We've seen how they work so well in the past, and again, when we do see the destruction of mangroves, it really is it breaks our hazard management, because we appreciate development has to happen, but at the same time we need to protect our natural resources from that swells and so forth. And I think it's a really good conversation to have about talking about the climate resilience infrastructure. Cayman's changed a heck of a lot over the last 30, 40 years. We have to see with the population growth. I think we've gone from, was it 30? I can't even quite remember what it was, but to 91,000 now. So it's reshaped with that population growth. We've really reshaped the disaster risk profile of the island. Combining denser communities, aging infrastructure, stronger storms as we've seen them. And there really is an urgency sort of for proactive planning and adaptation to climate resiliency and again, that infrastructure. Talking about elevated roads, for example, improved drainage facilities. Appreciate the caller talked about obviously the sea level where we're at in the Cayman Islands. We know we're low. We know we're in a storm belt. So how do we make sure we're putting mitigation measures in Cayman to focus on those kind of vulnerabilities? Looking at the utilities, hardening our utilities to make sure they're sort of storm ready for any possible issue. And also things like smart land use planning. We saw in the Nor'wester in 2024, I believe it was, that a lot of the buildings on the north side, it was West Bay, got some serious damage. Hazard management, we were really trying to advocate for being part of that planning mechanism, both for public buildings, so we can make sure that our public buildings become potential shelters, and that is designed in the actual pre-planning as opposed to an afterthought. Custom making, for example, the windows and the doors and so forth, to make sure they're hurricane proof. But also being part of the table when we talk about planning decisions, like the Department of Environment, who have a really good voice in saying, there'll be an environmental impacts required, or this might happen, or that might happen. We can talk about it from a hazard lens. If you're building a certain way at a certain location, from historical data alone, but also from the evidence-based modelling that we're doing now, we can really tell if that's a good decision or not. So we are going to be advocating more to be part of the seat at the table when it comes to planning, because we, with the development the way it is, we really have to make sure we're building smart and not just building for the sake of it.
Okay, I think that ties into a question. This person has written and said, good morning. Question for this morning's panel concerning the lack of redundancy of the road network from the Eastern District to Georgetown. If that road is blocked for any reason, i.e. hurricanes, how do they intend to manage that? Also, what are the views of the panelists concerning the extension of the east-west arterial, which would help provide some redundancy? And we know what happened after Hurricane Ivan and the effort to reach the people of East End, and we know what Mr. Arden McLean went through in that process. As a matter of fact, he told me he may call in this morning, so if he's listening, he may want to call in at some point in time, and we can relate, the challenges that he had just trying to get to his district, East End, after Hurricane Ivan as well. But so do you want me to read the
No, I'm
comments
going
again?
to a very generic
in notes?
overview. Again,
Okay.
I think, obviously contingency road planning is very, very important. And as I just mentioned, that, elevated roads, thinking about drainage. I'm not going to comment on either the specific roads, albeit I do think, obviously having those contingencies for anything is very, very important. I do want to mention, though, that we do a lot of planning around this. So we saw in Ivan communities getting cut off. We have now done a lot of work on critical infrastructure mapping so that we know what our resources are in each district. We work very closely with the CERT teams in each district, community emergency response teams, and they are, again, focused on that specific district so we can get intel on anything at any time. We also pre-position the regiment, or they are pre-positioned with vehicles in these different districts so they can respond. We have shelters across the whole islands, 3 islands. So again, we've got capacity in each shelter, both a bit of aftermath food stock, but also personnel. So there's a lot of planning that goes into those making sure that each district is hardened. We work with the MP, whoever represents the district. We work with the wider community there. We've trained even the schools. We work with each school independently, for example for the tsunami planning, but also for hurricanes. So,
and I believe the Red Cross also has containers positioned
the containers around the island. So as far as food stock goes, and more importantly, perhaps, we also work with as far as food security goes. We have a very good food security network that we're trying to build on. One of the projects we did many years ago with the Department of Agriculture was to map all the food source on the island. So be it eggs, be it produce, be it vegetables or livestock, to make sure we know what's where. Mm. That will help us. But also we work with supermarkets. So, we're very, very close to Foster's Food Fair, Hurley's, and of course they have supermarkets around the island as well, Foster's do, and Costidas and so forth. So those conversations and that planning is going on all year round.
I have a question, John, in relation to FEMA coming down here after Hurricane Ivan. Were they also amazed by the impact that Hurricane Ivan made on us and the fact that there was no loss of life directly affected by the hurricane itself?
Okay, well, first of all, they weren't necessarily surprised at the damage. Mm-hmm. Okay, Hurricane Ivan was a nasty storm in its own right, and most of the damage is usually in 2 to 3 different phases, as it were. Along the coastal areas, there's tremendous wave action that's linked to the storm surge and the oncoming shore waves as well. And so a lot of the buildings, the old man from FEMA, he was saying to me, he said, John, look at this one now. The front end of the building that's on the roadside, the building is nice and neat and everything like that. And then you walk around the back and the whole seaside wall was gone and there's sand up in the sitting room and stuff like that. Thankfully, there weren't people involved, people staying in those homes during the passage of the storm. Mm-hmm. Okay, now there were, from what I understand, 2 deaths in Ivan. One was from a roof collapsing, and then the other one was
gentleman who decided to stay on board his
boat. Yes. Yeah, so I think. I think a lot of people, a lot of other nations continue to be pleasantly surprised at the Cayman Islands that we can handle a hurricane, the level of Hurricane Ivan, and come out relatively unscathed when it comes to the loss of life. Okay? You take that same hurricane and you run it into any other country in the Caribbean, you're thinking you're going to have more loss of life than the 2 people that died. The person that I was dealing with was their most elder and most experienced officer. So there wasn't no surprises for him. Just the idea about the loss of life.
Okay, while you have the mic, John, I want to give you an opportunity for some closing comments, and I want to also extend a personal invitation for you to come back on to the show either before or after you demit office as well.
We're not actually letting him go anywhere.
I understand that there's certain people may have purchased some extra handcuffs to keep in the building, but anyway. It's always a pleasure to come here and talk with you, and impart anything of my knowledge or anything in terms of my experience and what have you, and to pass this information on to the Cayman Islands and its people, in the hopes that that it'll make life easier with them by responding in appropriate ways and what have you, and listening to appropriate messages and what have you. And the world is constantly changing, and some of the things that how weather used to impact you in days gone by have changed. We've gone from time when we used to have a ton of big nasty nor'westers. Now we're dealing with dust. Now we're dealing with sargassum and a bunch of other things. I was telling my wife, I was reminiscing when I built my home. And I live in Savannah Meadows, and I have a retaining wall to hold the topsoil into my land, and then eventually built it up to a fence. And the fence sits maybe about 4 feet tall. And I remember a rain event, or a few rain events, that came through that area where probably about 80% of that wall was underwater.
Wow.
I haven't seen that in a while. I thank God for that. But weather comes at us in a whole lot of other different kind of ways. And just implore the people to listen to the right sources of information and take the necessary actions to protect themselves and protect their property.
Okay, and I'm going to take this opportunity, even though I'm going to ensure that we generate more opportunities, to thank you, for your service, as well. Thanks, to your leadership within the National Weather Service, and also to ensure the whole issue of continuity and succession planning. And we see when Dr. Carby was appointed, 99 applicants for the job. I'm sure that there will probably be close to that many as well, but we hope that Caymanian will succeed you in your role as well.
Well, for those that have been in the hub, they would have recognized that the job has already been advertised. All right? And I will say that one of the things that comforts me and when I'm leaving is knowing that the Weather Service is in good hands. From the people that are in the upper levels of the National Weather Service, to their linkages to hazards management, to their linkages to the Cabinet Office, and knowing that Cabinet Secretary Samuel Rose will look after my people and look after everybody.
Great. Dani, we taken away a lot of your closing comments as well. But we're going to stretch it.
No, so Johnny is, I call him Johnny Boy, but he's my work husband, and we've been joined at the hip for many, many moons. And, I've always really enjoyed working with John. He's a fountain of knowledge. He's also just a really, really good guy as well. So when we're on our 24th, 25th, 27th hour, in an activation, we're sort of sitting there with our heads on each other, fast asleep. He really is. He's my man. So I'm really going to miss him, and I really hope he doesn't go too far, because he may end up sitting in hazard management and helping us with other things. In regards to sort of final closing messages, it's hazard management, and really the Cayman Islands National Weather Service's priority is to protect lives, infrastructure, and obviously build resilience. But of course, preparedness and resilience is a shared responsibility, and it's absolutely critical that the public, that the government, that the people of the Cayman Islands, and that the private sector and everyone, takes it on board that they have to prepare themselves. We can only go so far. We're here to help anyone with their plans, their, helping them figure out what should be in their emergency supply kits, helping them understand the messaging, helping them download the NEANS app. We're here to help as much as we can. We do a lot of presentations to the private sector and schools and so forth. But every single one of us in the Cayman Islands needs to know the risk. And I'm talking about multi-risks here, but of course, really right now we're talking about hurricane season. Understanding what the messages are, making sure you're not looking at misinformation, because again, that in itself really does trigger unnecessary panic.
Yes.
It really is a problem. But know your risks, know where you live, know how to turn your valves off, know how to ensure that your hurricane supply kit's up and running and restocked. We appreciate cost of living is a real problem right now, so do it slowly. You don't have to do it all overnight. But no, so much information on our website at www.caymanprepared.ky. And again, we're here to help you get ready, but please, please, please do not leave it to that storm approaching and panic buy and, running to the shop and getting your car refueled and getting your driver's license organised or your passport organised. That should all be done now, so that when the storm does come, and, even with the predictions the way they are, we have no idea what will happen for the rest of the year. Even when that storm does threaten us, at least in the region, we're ready to go, every single one of us. And of course, that means every single one. So everyone, in particular, the most vulnerable people who don't have the support networks. It's our social responsibility to be helping each other. So I'm calling on everyone in the Cayman Islands to do their bit to help each other and to help themselves.
Excellent. So thank you all very much. We have you scheduled again next week, Friday the 12th, as well, Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the phone lines will be open. We will talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about, as long as it's fit to be broadcast on air. So please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. At Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite band-aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. Don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
CINWS parametric insurance after hurricanes is now available for motor policies. Fixed automatic payouts cover incidental vehicle expenses like fuel, cleanup, and minor repairs. No claims, no damage required. $200 for comprehensive policies or $100 for third-party policies. Available exclusively through CINWS and included with all new motor insurance policies and upon renewal for current policies. Visit CINWS.ky today. CINWS, keeping Cayman covered.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Phone lines are open. If you're calling from a flow number, we have a toll-free number for you. That number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037, 949-6990, and of course our WhatsApp number, 925-3261. If you have any questions or comments regarding the early panel discussion on preparedness, you may want to talk about that. If you have read the Cayman Compass this morning, you may want to talk about some of the articles there. For instance, Cayman's renewable debate intensifies as power crunch looms. Talks underway to address development and environmental policy tensions. And you would have heard members of the Progressives in the studio on Wednesday talking about their invite to participate in that and their decision to decline that invite as well. Other article, water sewage charges set to rise starting in July. Green light for $40 million development on Walker's Road, and scam email targets candy wacky email users. I do believe we have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good, and a pleasant weekend to you.
Thank you. Same to you.
I have two little issues that I need to bring to the public's attention.
Go right ahead.
One is in Pedro area. The house number is 753. I'm not sure what this lady is doing there, if she's conducting business or what she's doing, but every time you cross there, it's a bad corner, and traffic is held up on both sides of the road. Now, I've crossed there in the mornings, and the road is very dangerous. It's a sharp corner. There's heavy equipment trucks. There's vehicles coming down full of marl and rocks and stuff, and the road is really narrow there. It's a sharp corner. It's right opposite of Mr. Gilbert's McLean house. I usually see a lot of heavy equipment, trucks parked there and other vehicles. I'm asking the traffic police if they could go and monitor it, because it not only happens once, it happens every morning. I'm not sure if the lady is doing business from the house or something, but someone needs to be, I cross there every morning, and I know the police patrol there, so they probably see what is going on. If you don't have parking for a business, try to find some place that has parking.
And sorry, I was going to say it may be also of interest to those persons who, or the entity involved in trade and business license as well, because you have given a street address, and
it's right on the main. It's right on the main.
Yep, and they should know whether or not they have issued a trade and business license to that particular address as well. Good to know. Yeah, and your second issue.
Okay. For MLAs, I don't have a problem with which district they're entitled to help or do whatever, but I think all MLAs are for the Cayman Islands, the whole island, whatever. I've been trying to get in contact with two particular MLAs, and they know who they are. We were trying to get help between me and another lady for an elderly lady, and the help is really needed. We have called them over and over. One sent a message, say it off island, we'll check you later.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I call the other one, the phone is off. Can you tell me what is happening?
Okay, and do you know whether or not they have district constituency offices? Because even if they're off island, you would hope that their constituency office is manned. Caller?
Yes.
Yeah, my question was, do you know if they have each of them has a constituency office?
Yes.
They do. Have you tried reaching their office while they're off island? So I'm not sure what's happening. She hung up. Okay. So my questions were whether or not they had a constituency office, and if during that period of absence, their periods of absence, whether or not those offices are manned as well. Of course, she didn't give the name of the members of Parliament, so I'm sure if they're listening, they would know who they are as well. Okay. Let's look at this article. I got 2 minutes before we go to our next commercial break. In relation to Cayman's renewable debate intensifies as power crunch looms. Now, the question that I had, and I've never had anyone in the studio yet who, or at this point in time, to ask the question to, but we see this huge debate going on in other jurisdictions, and in particular the United States, about the building of data centers, right? Which consume lots of electricity and require lots of water for cooling purposes as well. My question is whether or not that subject, the whole issue of data centers, has been brought up in Cayman, whether or not there is a need for data centers here in Cayman, or with what is happening as far as artificial intelligence is concerned, that the same way that we are now supported by our communications links, whether or not that is all that is necessary in the event that at some point in time some entity decides that they want to establish a data center here in Cayman. Are we prepared for it? This article talks about the fact that the Cayman's renewable debate has intensified because there is a looming power crunch in the Cayman Islands. If we were to introduce data centers here in the Cayman Islands, then that whole situation becomes even more complicated, and the position or the situation becomes even more gloomy as well. So I'll share part of that article with you as soon as we return from this commercial break, unless, of course, we do get a caller, and we will take the caller over my sharing this article with you. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Babe, not tonight. You keep poking me, and I need to be rested for meetings tomorrow.
What? I was almost asleep. That's the mattress spring I keep telling you about, not me. We really need to get a new mattress.
Tossing and turning, back hurting, can't sleep? It might be time to turn in your old mattress and go to bed with a new one. Browse the huge mattress showroom at Brand Source Home Gallery and pick the perfect mattress today. With mattresses to suit every budget, Brand Source Home Gallery stocks a wide selection of sizes and styles like pillow top and gel memory foam. So stop tossing and turning and sleep better tonight with a new mattress from Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite band-aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. But don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
The 7 a.m. Sports Report, brought to you by Dr. Wayne Porter, offering a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No callers on hold, Miss Susan. So we will look at this article. Okay, we did have a message. Let me see. Take a look at it. Don't have it. Hasn't come up here. Okay, so article written in today's Caymanian Compass by James McKeague. It says that recent statements from the Caribbean Utilities Company, Off-Reg, and rooftop solar installers have shown that electricity is a contentious topic in the Cayman Islands. Perhaps the only thing that all parties agree on is that something must change. Cayman's electricity prices are about 20% more expensive than the Caribbean average. It also has less renewable energy production than its neighbors, with just 3% of Cayman's electricity produced from renewable sources. The jurisdiction will have to move fast to meet the ambitious national energy policy target of 30% renewable power by 2030. So by 2030, and we're in 2026 now, 4 years. They need to increase by 27% more. Wow. Says the other factors forcing change is demand, economic expansion, including hotel developments, coupled with rapid population growth, is predicted to push Cayman's peak electricity demand to 143 megawatts in 2030 and 29.5 megawatts in 2025. But while the key stakeholders agree that Cayman's electricity generation needs to change, there is intense disagreement about the best route forward. The debate is nothing new, but with economic and political pressures building, it looks likely to be settled in the next few years. Do we have that caller, Ms. Susan? I'm not hearing you. Do we have a caller? Let's go to the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Oshim.
Good morning, sir. How are you? Good to hear your voice.
I'm just fine, thank you. Can't complain for an old man. I'd just like to say, when you're talking earlier on about the weather, view on the weather office and the aviation weather and so forth, there's one name, as you said, it was staffed by mainly ladies that I didn't hear, was Miss Elizabeth Banks, or she might have been Glidden at the time, Charlo Glidden's sister.
Okay, yeah.
Darlene's sister. She was there. She was there. I don't know if anybody mentioned her name.
No, it wasn't mentioned. It wasn't mentioned as well. I think, we were all trying to go by memory, but other than Mr. Tibbetts, who was pretty familiar, with it, even though, he came in, I guess it would have been in the 70s, 80s, when he started, yeah.
1960 or so.
Yeah. Can you tell us about her then? Do you, what information that you have?
Banks, she got married, Banks. But in her early years, she was there. She's still alive. The Charlo's sister.
Okay, yeah.
Charlo's sister. You're talking about power. I'd just like to quickly say that we've got to understand the rate we're building at and expanding our infrastructure at. We require enormous power, electricity to run these big hotels and condominium buildings and so forth. And right now, the only reliable source is CUC with those huge diesel engines. To face that fact. The solar power is possible, but right now, with the land space available in Cayman, you've got to think of this. We're always talking about surrounding Caribbean countries. Many of them, have more land space. Some of them do have hydropower too, and all that. I know Jamaica had hydropower from about 1910, and I don't know if they still operate those plants, but they're there way into the 40s, 50s. And they're on natural gas now. Their power company, one of them, with a huge ship anchored out, loaded with natural gas and so forth. And because the solar power isn't that dependent a thing. It is expensive too. No one needs to think that those solar panels don't cost money. And they're probably made by the oil companies anyhow, but I just thought, we have to think that this infrastructure that we're used to and what the lifestyle that people have gotten used to, it needs tremendous power source, and CUC's providing it there with those big engines. And they're low-lying island. The sea breeze blows away the smog and the exhaust from the tall exhaust funnels that they have there and so forth. But, we have to come to the realization if we want to maintain this lifestyle and if we want to continue to build, which seem to have no choice right now. I don't see any other choice. But that, the solar land, and these people are going to build. And I just thought I'd say this, It's a lot more to it than that, but I don't see us converting to 30% solar power in any 5-year time or 10-year time. I personally don't see that at all.
Okay. Carla, one of the things and that I see missing from this article, and I'll list some of the headings that they have in this article. One has to do with, will renewable reduce electricity bills? The other question, utility scale solar versus distributed solar. The other one, will Cayman meet the 2030 target? Other question, is rooftop solar being obstructed? Another one has to do with the grid operator view, and finally ERCO's role as referee. What I don't see being questioned here is whether or not we still have to continue to rely on CUC as the sole provider of electricity or energy in the Cayman Islands, because that is something that still needs to be resolved, needs to be answered, whether or not we're going to allow other actors into the game.
Understand all that. It's not a cheap thing, as we know. CUC has invested maybe over $1 billion invested in that. When you think of the poles, the generators, the distribution and the equipment to control it and so forth, and the big investment now in the batteries, backup and huge batteries and stuff like that, preparing for things. We have to question whether there's infighting with those who are dealing with the solar panels issue and so forth. Who wants to be the top dog, anyway. But that Florida is provided Florida with FPNL. And I can't think of any other power company there. They provide for the millions of people in Florida. They can hook up, as all states can in the United States, to Georgia Power. That is the federal law, federal regulations that all must be able to hook up in emergencies and so forth, and bad outages to other states.
And even without emergencies, they do buy power from other sources as well, from other...
Yes. But I can't see us with 100,000, 120,000 people, I guess we have here now about that. Needing a 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know. It will be sort of chaos to control it and all that, and what's going to happen. Will that be cheaper? Will it be a massive confusion with billing? I don't know. People have got to consider these things. When you have something going good, you don't change it without careful thought. Very, very careful thought. We have a very good power company, very reliable. Very reliable. There's a price to pay for everything in life. You might switch, and you might regret it. Jumping from the pot to the frying pan,
But also when that power company has an obligation to its investors, right? They have to think about their investors first and foremost before they think about any social or other obligations that they may have as well. And that to me puts them in a very difficult situation in terms of, how much they can succeed for the public good.
Yes, I understand all that. But what do you mean? You're going to... you mean for the government to run this thing?
No, not necessarily. No, not necessarily the government. What I'm talking about is possible competition in some areas. In Cayman, one would think also that, we shouldn't have more than one, or how can we operate with more than one natural gas provider, propane gas provider in the Cayman Islands, but we do have it as well. I think you spoke about the numbers, and the numbers will increase. So with the increase in numbers, we have to look at what are the other possibilities. What are the other possibilities that are out there?
Yeah, but each person will be looking to make some money. It wouldn't make sense to go into any business. The whole idea behind it, to make some money. So where is the control? Where with many of them, with ERCO trying to control this whole thing, more confusion. I don't know. I just think it really needs careful thought before we buy into all this. That's just my opinion.
And I respect that.
Others have the same opinion, but they're not going to say it.
Yep. Thank you very much, caller. Thank you. Thank you very much for that.
For the time.
Folks, we're going to go to our last commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Grow your business with Breeze 105.3 FM and Radio Cayman. From spot packages to full campaigns, we've got rates that fit your budget and your goals. Email our sales team today, rcsales@gov.ky. That's rcsales@gov.ky. Let's get your message on air and reach listeners who trust us every day.
With Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. That was a good conversation there with Mr. Hurlston just now. We need more of those, types of conversations as well. The pros and the cons in relation to these issues. We hope and we trust that our political leaders, all of our members of Parliament are having this type of conversation as well. One of the the headings in this article also has to do with ERCO's role as a referee. And earlier, in the early part of the show this morning, talking about preparedness, we invoked the name of Mr. McCleary Frederick. And I see here from this article where Mr. McCleary Frederick is ERCO's Executive Director of Energy. As well. So that is where, that is the role that Mr. Frederick is playing at ERCO as well. Let's go to our caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Moderator.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing okay. First of all, what happened to our friend Steve-O?
Working on something for him for next week. Working on something. Soon be here.
Boy, I hope that he can come on more frequently, I mean, he's a guy of good knowledge and good encouragement, and we need him. I would appreciate if he can come on more often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But what I want to say that we need to take more responsibility for our survival. And we're just not talking about hurricane. We're talking about what you repeated a while ago about the cost of living and so on and so forth. I have some solar light in my place.
Mm-hmm.
And it is extremely well efficient. Okay? Doesn't cost me anything except for what I paid for it, and I installed most of them myself. So we need to do things like this. Look before going and say, well, what the cost of living is, and expecting the government or someone else to fund our expenditure. Another thing is, I am still not encouraged by the amount of farming that I see that could be done. You don't need an acre, half acre, or whatever. You just need a small back garden and make use of it. It is so encouraging to see your own products mature, that you can go in your back garden and pick a pawpaw, a potato, whatever.
Yep.
And the taste is absolutely fantastic compared to what you get that is imported. See, we need to have this show once a week to encourage people, especially the younger people, that they understand that it's more to life than a fast car or even any kind of car, a mobile phone, and air conditioning. They need to understand that, look, we're not when we was, 20 years ago, when people didn't have as much, but they had an abundance of good ambition. We are left behind, OC, into this little island, and we're so influenced by the foreign influence that we got to get this big-time apartment and flowers and all. Look, we're living in a different time, and people must understand if we don't change our style of living, we are going to be more up dire straits. Something needs to happen drastically for people to come on board and say, yeah, we understand what you're saying, and we can go, if you got a little back garden, put something in it. Do something with it.
Okay.
I just thought that I would say that, and thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you. And Dr. Macfield, soon come.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Before we go to our next call, I'm going to read very quickly this comment from one of our listeners as well, because this came in quite a while ago. Remember when Digicel came to Cayman and we found out how much cable and wireless were charging the country and wanted to slash prices to keep customers? Government at the time stepped in and told them no. Will adding competition be the same scenario when it comes to CUC? How will it be regulated, and what measures will be put in place to prevent a situation as such? Let's go to our caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Hey, morning. How art thou?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, OC, listening to the hazard management people, and then Mr. Hulston, and then a good friend from West Bay, Mr. Morgan. It always leaves me to wonder, OC, did we not, or should we not have analyzed or magnified the things Teacher Roy Borden used to be asking? Who are we developing for? See, it's partly we didn't realize that if we increase the population so rapidly, that we would be playing catch up for things like demand for more electricity. It's a big demand for more roads now. It's a big demand. See, food, everybody got to eat. We got to produce more water. And with the climate changing now, are we going to be able to generate enough water to sustain the large population that is now on the island? It seems like we have put the cart way, in front of the horse. Now we're playing catch up on just about everything. Our infrastructure cannot sustain or see the population that we now have on this island. We acting as if we got like huge wide plains like places like Canada and the likes that can take immigrants and stuff like that. But we don't. We have a limit now. Everybody. I mean, you know that everybody now concern is where will my grandson or my son get a piece of property? It's only 78 square miles, 78 square miles. That won't take long to be completely developed because, as you know, I would say from Frank Sound down, most of the property that would be developed into dwelling is just about almost gone. and East End now that I never dreamed that you would see subdivisions in East End. I never thought about that back in the day.
I see one. I see a huge.
Subdivisions.
I see one going when you're coming from North Side, just before you get to the Botanic Park.
Yeah, see one going in there too.
Yep, and then of course on the other side, Gun Bay side, there's a new one going in there as well. Then in then in Old Man Bay in North Side, there's one before you get to Over the Edge on the left-hand side as well. Lots of developments taking place now.
And see, and a part of see the people that we elect. Everybody gets in and they give us this pretty picture, and they end up doing the same thing that others do. They just kick the pan and they chase it down the road to see if they can kick it further. They don't grab it and deal with it, because every group get in or say the same. There's no plan. The only time that I really heard about a plan was when Dr. Linford Pearson was in power, and he had the Master Ground Transportation Plan, which was a plan. And then we had Nicholas Johnson. He had come up with a urban development thing, with various districts where various business would be in various districts, and the Bensons and the likes looked at it and told him it was a good idea.
Yeah.
But that was it. Coming from a little guy that just come out of university, no, that was it. Now, whether I like it or not, the Dart group come along or see, no, they got a plan. They got a plan. Whether we like it, whether we like him, or we like what, we like him owning so much.
They have their plan.
I tell you what, he got a plan, and the plan that he have is it makes sense.
Yep.
He got office, he got banks, he got supermarket, he got dwelling, he got school, he got hospital. Now he got recreational across the street where you play football there too. And if you get your leg broke, they just send you underneath the tunnel, and they got a rehab thing behind the hospital now that they're building.
And if you want to have a concert, you got the greens to go to, as well.
Concert?
Yeah. Yep.
In the concert, you want to put your boat, you want to go down in your boat. See, everything, we need to have a plan.
Yep.
We need to have a plan. We need to sit down and plan.
Okay, Lord Graham, I'm going to try to squeeze one more call in before we go. Thank you very much for that. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, OC.
Oh, morning.
That's Lord Graham on there. I just wondering how many times he called today on a Friday.
First time. We had guests up until 9:15 this morning.
Wow, he's rolling well. I heard you brought up the point just now. I didn't get to read the article yet. This morning in the Compass about data centers.
Yeah. Well, I raised the issue about data centers because that wasn't mentioned in the Compass at all.
Okay, well, it was very interesting that you brought that up.
Yeah.
I know you're not much into technology. But
Well, you think so? In terms of the application of technology, but in terms of the subject itself, I try to keep up to speed.
And I am very grateful for that, and I'm happy to know that you brought it up. It caught my interest because I've been reading up and listening the news in the U.S. And different part of the world about these data centers. Data centers takes up a lot of power.
Yep.
You drop one of those data centers around there, that sucks for you.
So, and water.
And it's not really that friendly to the environment.
Yes.
We're too small for this sort of thing. When everybody believes that Cayman has it forever, everybody thinks that Cayman is the Dubai of the world, or we got to do this like what they're doing there. No, we don't have to. You get developers come down here and tries to sell us this to try to do something there, but to get impressed without doing any deep analysis of what they're trying to do or what they're trying to build, and you see what happens. As Lord Graham just said, say what you want to say about Uncle Dart, but he did a good job. I don't agree with everything, some of the stuff, but I must say I'm not a big advocate of certain things that he have done, but nevertheless, this is what private developers do.
Mm-hmm.
And his plan over the last 20, 25 years, probably up another 50 years, I think kind of fits into where he wanted, what his vision is. But let me flip back over to the data center. I worked in telecoms, as you know, and I remember working at Coleman, and this is almost 20 years ago. And we had a small, what we call data center in there, and it consumed a lot of power inside of the racks where we would sell backup before the cloud even today. And the cloud is basically is a data center all over the world, and so we connect it to the different data centers. If one fails, this one comes on. So it's like a generator listening public. So you see, goes down, you got a generator, it comes on. That's a second tier data. Cayman does not have a fourth tier data. We only got one, meaning only one power source. I say this because we used to have a lot of companies come here want to have a data backup in Cayman because of our company's laws and stuff like that, save on taxes, et cetera. But one of the problems was that we did not have a second tier backup. Even though we had a big diesel generator, they were looking something more like another CUC.
Right, redundancy.
Redundancy on top of redundancy on top of redundancy. And Cayman doesn't have that. So data centers would be out of the question for Cayman. Takes up a lot of energy, messes up the environment, and takes up a lot of land.
But that doesn't mean that someone may not come up with the idea for other reasons as well.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. That doesn't mean we have to entertain it as well, and then find even if they purchase the land and put it down, then then they would have to then provide their own power resources. Because some of the argument is in some of these states, it's saying you want your own data center, provide your own.
Because it's going to cost the cost of electricity to go up for other users as well. But caller, I've reached that point. You waited a little bit too long to call for us to have, a much more deeper conversation in relation to this topic. But I hope you take the opportunity on another day when the phone lines are open to call in and to so that we can talk more about this as well. So I want to thank that caller. I want to thank all of those who participated this morning. Thank our panelists, Mr. John Tibbetts and Ms. Dani Coleman as well. Folks, it is the weekend. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman, during the weekend as well as today. Join Mr. Charles Glidden Shallow at 12:15 for Talk Today. Have a safe weekend, and as usual, we ask the good Lord to continue to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Doctor's Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. Kirk Market, experience a world of choice. JN Money, from abroad to Yad. And Cineco, keeping Cayman covered.
If they are talking about us,
living in your head rent-free all this time,
we must be relevant. Radio Cayman, since 1970.